You.
You know, you owe me on the idea that every writer sort of claims that all of his work is autobiographical.
Right.
But I'm wondering how much you drew from your own life for this particular novel.
I would say that all of my books, I pray, are emotionally very true and very real. The events and the facts of my life will always be tailored to suit the fiction. I rather like something Raymond Carver said, and Bob Fosse would back this up too, that writing at its best should not just be autobiographical, but it should be ruthlessly autobiographical. And I subscribe to that, at least for my work. You know, it's worth it to me. It has been said to me that I'm harder on myself than I am on anybody. And that's true, I'm sure. But, you know, it's a good way to reach somebody. Because when I was 12 years old, and this is funny, but, you know, I would read Edgar Allan Poe, and all of a sudden I didn't feel alone in the world. And that's crazy, because I've got nothing in common with Edgar Allan Poe. But that is what I decided I wanted to do, was reach some redheaded kid who would never make 6 feet and give him the belief that, you know, you're not in it alone. And so I write out of that, I suppose. Try to get some height. A couple of inches further, you know. Autobiographical, yeah, sure, but not really. You know, my mother sometimes says it didn't happen that way. I say, I know. I'm a fiction writer, you know. You know. So. Hey, Steve.
Hey. You may have answered some version of this question already, but basically, at what stage in your life did it really occur to you that you were writing from a heart level and a gut level and not just meeting a deadline set down by some creative writing teacher?
Sophomore year of college, I would say. I had written a long time before that, but not with any real true seriousness. You know, I wanted to be serious. You know, I wanted to be a writer, you know. And it didn't, you know, it took a long time and a lot of writing to get to the point where I just accepted, you know, I am a writer and I can do whatever I want. I can write anything I want. And whether or not anybody takes it seriously is not my concern anymore. This is what I do. And the miracle, to get back to what you had asked, is that it's such a gas. I dig it. You know, no one has published one word I've written in 22 years, right? But it is still such an amazing experience to sit there and do it. And it's not always that way, you know, but you have these magic moments that, you know, sound silly, but, you know, the only thing that touches it is love, you know, being in love with a woman. You know, that's it. That and writing, you know, friendship, you know, just where you feel really connected to something, whether it's a person or yourself, maybe. I don't know. You know, again, it's sort of mysterious, Steve. You know, I don't have many answers, but a lot of questions. And that's what's worth writing about, not answers. You know, questions, it seems to me. I just do it. You know.
Who are your favorite authors?
You know, I don't have one anymore. I really don't. And I don't do a lot of reading, quite honestly. Once I started writing, I sort of stopped being a major reader, you know, because I wanted everything to sound like me and not somebody I was trying to be. So when I was 21, you know, Faulkner was my hero, Joyce, Fitz, you know, all the standard English class writers that nobody reads anymore, maybe. You know, I loved everything I read. I loved everything in college. Every single thing. I didn't dislike anything. Paradise Lost, you know, I mean, I love all of that. but I kind of quit reading it because, you know, I can't help but want to sound like Faulkner. If I read Faulkner, man, that's it. I want to be that because it's so beautiful to me, you know? So I got to stay away from it. Yes.
I'm wondering when you start new projects, how structured your planning process is.
Yeah, I love this aspect of it actually because the truth is I start with some small thing, usually a character. I don't like to know where it's going. I don't map my books out, you know. Once they're written, then I will map them out and try to find the rises and falls and all of that. While it's happening, I want it to organically go where it wants to go. I mean, it really is sort of strange to talk about, but I mean, things take on a life of their own in books, you know, the people and everything. So if I've got a plot in mind, for better or worse, if I've got a plot in mind, I'm going to bend everything to match this plot. And I don't write that way. And I don't have any problem with people that do. But unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you go, but I don't write that way. I just kind of let it go where it wants to go. And then once it's there, I can work with it structurally and make things fit together, you know, in a more even. Does that make sense? Melanie Hayes is a wonderful yoga teacher at Carborough Yoga, folks. So, yeah, man. Tommy, great reference librarian at Davis Library. Yeah.
Variation on the same question, but maybe not exactly the same. Do you find yourself, and it may vary from book to book, the inspiration or whatever you want to call it, the impetus? Is it maybe from a character, an event, a visual image? Or
Yeah, a visual image a lot of the time, which is sort of funny.
Faulkner said that sounded good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Cassie's dirty drawers, right? Yeah, that actually, it happens that way a lot. It can be the smallest thing. And once you put that down, you think, well, why did this person fall out the window? You know, what led to this? How did they get to that point where they went out the window? And so that's when the magic thing happens that I don't know how to explain. You just show up and write and write and write and write. It's great, right? Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Liza.
This might be a dumb question, but after having written for so long and able to change things however you want, how do you think you're going to feel when you do get published?
Oh, yeah.
And an editor, changes things, changes your word.
It's a scary thought in some regards, but a liberating one too, because I am incapable of looking at my work without tinkering. I can't just sit and read it like I do any other book. I have to, oh, well, that's a terrible word, or there needs to be a comma there, or, you know, and so there's something refreshing about the thought of saying, hey, it is done. I can do nothing with it anymore. It's on a bookshelf somewhere, and I'm going to have to live with that the rest of my life, you know, right? And, you know, so I hope you're right. I'd love to get rid of one of them at least. Really. You know, I mean, preferably while my mom is here to see it happen. If anybody hears that and feels sorry for me, and you have any connections, use them. All right, yes?